Welcome. Today's new video will be about PAM inventory planning. Now in PAM, the property accounting, we can use the inventory plan where we have to, before we actually create the plan, we have to filter on the PAO. And with PAO, I mean the PAO structure. So NFE, NATO funded equipment, NATO funded infrastructure, or NATO common funded vehicles, or any other type of structure that you are creating as a PAO. We are creating special statuses. I will explain later how to use them. Then within the plan, you have not scheduled, scheduled and cleared inventories throughout the year. We have a calendar which can be accessible, and I will go through some print options. So let's go and show you the demonstration. When we are logged into the PAM, we are going to property accounting. You will see there is a button inventory plan. You click on it, and here's where we can filter on the PAO name if we know the name, or we say which site. So in this case I choose the training site, I apply, and here's where I can see my two different PAO structures which have been recorded. Now in this scenario I'm going to choose the first one, PAO asset management. Click on OK, and now you will see automatically the inventory plan has been opened. Now here you can see the 3 PCH accounts which are, let's say, recorded under this PAO structure, the J1, J3 and J6 PCHs. You can see not scheduled, scheduled and cleared. But before we continue, I would like to show you how to create a special status. So during the, let's say, inventory planning, the not scheduled, scheduled and cleared, you can, let's say, record special statuses for that inventory. For that we have to go to administration, and you will see that I have here a button which says inventory plan status. Now you can see the list is empty. Now during the year or in the beginning of the year, you can start creating them, and you can use them every time that you are doing your inventory plan. In this scenario I will create a few. I go to the plus button, a new line will open. As an example, a special status could be PCH unknown. Okay, and I save. I will create another one. As an example, loss report pending. Again, I save. Another option which is used a lot is, for example, PCH not responding to inventory request. Yes, so in this way you can create a few statuses. I have, let's say, used between 8 and 10 different statuses depending on the situation. I save them, and they will stay in there unless I want to remove them, and I go to the red cross and I remove them. But in general I create them and they will be there to be used in the future. So now we have 3 different types of special statuses. We will continue with the inventory plan. So I will go out of this window. Again, I see the 3 different inventory plan statuses, not scheduled, scheduled and cleared. And now I start my plan. Now, the idea, preferably, is that you will start in the beginning of the year with a plan, so that throughout the year you can do your complete inventory. Now, according to the directive, you only need to do this once every 3 years, but of course it's good practice to do this every year and update also this information when there is a handover takeover between PCHs. Now, for example, in this scenario, I will use start date 1st of January, and end date is the date where I would like to finish the inventory. So I would give, for example, the PCH a window of, let's say, maybe a few weeks, maybe even more than a month, really depending on how you would like to do it, preferably till a Friday, yes, and I save. What happens when I save is that this PCH will go to the scheduled button here. So I save. So to show you how an inventory plan can be done throughout the year, I will show you the example. So I decided that the one that I just scheduled will be done in January, let's say mid-February. The next one will be done 1st of March. And I'm going to give them till the end of March. And I save. And the last one, I will say, because of any other commitments, I will do this one after the summer break, for example, and I will do this in October, 1st of October till, again, the end of October. And I save. And now you will see that all 3 PCHs have been moved to the scheduled inventory. Another good feature is that if I go back to my information board now, my inventory progress is still on 100% not scheduled, but if I refresh, you will see that now 60% is scheduled and 40% is not scheduled. You probably think, why is this? Because the 40% are actually from another PAO structure. So as in the beginning, you could see 2, one for NATO funded equipment and one for a NATO fleet. So to complete 100% inventory, you need to conduct an inventory for all your PAO structures, NFE, NFI, or NATO common funded vehicles. So when we go back to our inventory plan, you see now that we have not scheduled 0 because they are all scheduled, and cleared is still empty because we haven't cleared anything. Now, I can choose to print the current schedule, which gives me a small overview of the start and end date. Yes, this is just a print version of the actual scheduled status. Okay. Now, to continue, I can say this is just part of the planning. The start date when I'm planning to start, and the end date when I'm planning to end the inventory. Now, the send date is the date that I'm sending the balance list for the PCH to do the counting for the inventory. The return date is the date that the counting was returned. And the clear date is when I, as the PAO, actually looked at the results of the inventory and I handled them, any discrepancies, for example, and this is the date when I cleared the inventory. So the return date is the date the PCH is returning the balance list. The clear date is when I am finished as the PAO with the inventory for that PCH. Now, for example, the J6 branch has not assigned a PCH, a person. So I'm saying PCH unknown, mark pending investigation for primary person responsible. And I say OK. Now you will see it's an amber or orange, and I can see the special status is called PCH unknown pending investigation for primary person responsible. And I save. Again, in my information board, by refreshing, you will see that the schedule will change to one PCH with a special status. So as you can see, the start date was the 1st of January, but I didn't send the actual balance list to the PCH. Now, I can manually write a date or choose or select a date. I can also go to Inventory Send button here, which will open up another window and gives me some options on what I would like to be printed or be sent to the PCH. So, for example, I want the certification letter. I want them to certify that they accept their responsibility. Then I could have a list of responsibilities mentioned, what the PCH responsibilities are. I have an inventory cover sheet, for example, where I could customize a printout of what I'm expecting them to do because of the inventory, for example. I can print composite items if I have them, and I can even print a package dispatch if I have packages within my PCH structure. In this scenario, I'm choosing only for the inventory cover sheet and PCH responsibilities and certification letter. Now, if it was part of a handover takeover, I would also select the print handover takeover. If I choose the process, it is important to click on Update the Scheduled Inventory Plan, because it will update my send date automatically. So yes, and I process. It will show me the documents that I would like to send. So this is the first one. Then I have the inventory. I would also have the balance list if I would have Amaranth recorded. In this case, we don't have it. It's a training database. And the PCH responsibilities and the balance list. And like I already mentioned, there is nothing recorded. Yes. So this is the report I would like to send. I can save it and export it as a PDF file. And then I could send it via email to the responsible PCH. Now, going back, you will see now that the inventory send button is green and the send date has been updated to today's date. Also important, the start date is the planned date and the send date is the actual date when I actually send the balance list to the PCH to start the inventory. So there is a difference. I cannot send the date before the start date, but I can send the balance list after I was planning to start the inventory cycle. So if the end date is overdue, then the overdue button will also be highlighted to show you. Let's update the date. As you can see, now it became red and it's overdue. That means if the end date is before the actual date as of today, the overdue button will become red. Now let's change it back to the previous one and save. So I gave them 2 weeks to do the inventory. So imagine that the balance list was sent and it has been returned today as well. Now, in real life scenario, I hope this is not the case, because it doesn't show that they actually did a proper inventory, but that's a personal opinion. Now, send date and return date and the clear date, there was no discrepancies. It's also today. Now, before I save, I can also say recurrent. Click on it. It becomes amber. When I save this line now, the recurrent button actually makes the planning for next year. There's a button here on the left. It shows inventory plan generation. So next year, if I want the system to generate the inventory plan, all the items or all the PCHs which have been chosen to be recurrent will be automatically created with a start date and an end date. Okay, so I save it. You will see the cleared PCH account is now here and it has been cleared. There's no special status. If I go to the information board and I refresh, you will see now that one PCH has been cleared, which is 20%. As you can see, amber scheduled, green cleared, red special status, and gray not scheduled. Another option in the inventory plan is the calendar. On the left top corner you see calendar. It's hidden. I open up the screen. I have some buttons, but if I drag the screen a little bit below, you can see that I have a planning guide. I can do it with a week, work week, daily, or monthly. I prefer to see the timeline calendar, because then I can move the screen and you can see that in the beginning of January, the 1st of January, I'm starting with my plan for this PCH account. And if I go to the right, the next one is planned on the 1st of March. So this is how you can go through the planning. By week, I can hover to the next day. I can even zoom in and zoom out. Yes, so this is a good way of showing the inventory plan in a calendar format. Let's go to print options. For this I will use reporting services. I go to property accounting and you see a few pre-designed reports, and the one of interest is inventory scheduling, list of PCH with assigned persons, PCH detailed list, These are the most common one used, but for this video I will show you the inventory schedule. You have to select the right organization if you have more options, and view report. Now, important here is that you see the PCH code and the name. I have a start date, I have an end date, I also have a send date, a return date, a clear date, and if I would have recorded a special status, then you would be able to see the different special statuses here. Now, for the training database, we don't have any reporting services available, so this one is an example of another site. But if you would go to the inventory schedule in reporting services, you will have a nice overview of your inventory plan. You could print it out, A3, A4, hang it on the wall, and you have one overview of the start date, end date, send date, return date, clear date, but also with the special status. So this is the print option. So let's go back to NDSS, PAM. I will close the calendar view. I go back to scheduled, and let's say the send date was today as well, just to finish the cycle. But of course, normally you will do this with the accurate information. But for the purpose of the video, I will finish the cycle today, because we would like to finish this video. And we would like to select all of them recurrent, and we save. Then going to the information board, updating, you will see that all the ones have been cleared. The special status has been saved. So that means although I have a special status, I can still clear the inventory. Like I mentioned, the 40% have to do with another PIO structure. Okay. So I go back to my inventory plan. You see that not scheduled is empty, schedule is empty, and cleared are all 3 accounts recorded under this PIO. Now, so for next year, instead of doing all the different planning dates and send date, return date, etc. manually, you can also go to inventory plan generation. System is asking you, do you really want to generate the plan? Yes. And it is generated. Now, of course, we are still in the current year. You will not see this, but if you would do this next year in 2025, then you will see that all the not scheduled and scheduled have been changed to the scheduled version again, with the dates automatically generated from the inventory plan. So in this video, we showed you the PAM inventory plan or inventory planning tool. We showed you the dashboard, how to filter on the different PAO structure, as mentioned, the NFE, NFI, or the NATO Common Funded Vehicles. We showed you how to create a special status and when to use them, or how to use them. We went through the different cycles of not scheduled, scheduled, and cleared. We showed you a calendar view, which you can customize, or let's say the view, how you would like to see the calendar. And we gave you some print options. Now in reporting services, there are a couple of reports already available for you. So if you would do your inventory plan and go to reporting services, you can print some really nice reports. This is the video. We would like to thank you again for watching this video and see you in our next video.